Welcome back to Comic-Con live at IGN. I got that one backwards. It's okay, it's day 2, we're getting there. I'm Max Scoving. Joining me is Roth and Caitriona and Sam from Outlander. You're actually from IGN, but you guys are from Outlander.
I would love to be from Outlander. It's a great show.
I'm sure we could find you a little role. Yeah, you should come visit.
Join us, yeah.
That would be awesome. I'm holding you to it.
We want to be obviously in your position though.
You want to switch roles?
We want to
and
be
you
pundits on something. You know?
Sure, you can pundit. Well, let's pundit about Outlander since we're here. I do want to warn everybody, I'm going to talk about some of the events of the season finale, so if you're not caught up, catch up. It's really good.
Yeah,
we have to talk
on?
about it. So that was an intense hour of television. There was obviously a really big fan response to it. I want to ask you guys, what was it like for you as actors? How did Ron Moore sort of create a safe environment for you to go to some of those brutal places?
Ron Moore just plied us with whiskey, beat us until we got it right. No, absolutely. We spent a lot of time with the writers and the director on those final scripts. We had a rehearsal process and pretty much sort of set the guidelines or the boundaries to what we were shooting, and then kind of they just let us to get on with it. And I think. Yeah, I think there's definitely a level of trust that was really necessary to get this sort of level of performance.
Do you feel like, because there was, I think, amongst book readers sort of like this, they were just kind of tensing up and fearing, knowing that was coming, and I think it came as a shock to a lot of show viewers that did not know that was coming. Do you feel like it was really necessary? I do, but do you feel like it was necessary for the story and this relationship to go to that brutal of a place?
I completely think so. I mean, we are following the book that Diana wrote, and this is where she brought the characters, and I think it's especially for Jamie's character. You see how that affects him going on and going forward, and I think as actors you always relish getting given great material like that. It's not comfortable, it's not easy, but it's sort of you cherish getting meaty parts like that to sort of sink your teeth into, and I think we all relished it in a sort of way.
Certainly, yeah.
Do you pay attention to kind of the fan response to the series, or is that something that you sort of have to block out? I mean, you can't avoid it to some degree, I imagine.
Well, our fans are really quiet, so you never really hear from them.
Caitriona and I both on Twitter, and we do dip in and out and have a look and see what they're saying, and we get to live tweet sometimes, when the show is airing, and it's just great to see their response, and it is nice that they're this. We put so much time and effort into filming this. The anticipation of people actually seeing it was great, and last time we were here at Comic-Con, we were talking about the show, but it hadn't actually aired, so it's great for people that have actually seen the sort of the culmination of our work.
How much of a gap is there between when you guys shoot something and when you're here talking about it, or when it airs?
A long time.
That's a good break.
we finished production in September of last year, and obviously the first 8 episodes they started airing in towards, I think it was the middle of August. So by the time the last 8 episodes were aired, I mean, we had already finished production by 6 months or so, right? Which is also, it's quite nice because I think, you're in your own sort of bubble making it, and it's a very protected environment. And then, when it goes out into the world, it's nice to be able to look back in hindsight, but the work that you do is sort of in a very contained, safe environment. So you don't get polluted by maybe what's been said out there,
Do you guys are in Paris this season, and you're on to the second novel. Have you shot any scene? I know you're still in production. Have you shot any scenes from that novel that you think fans will be particularly excited about? That you can tease?
Wow. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, from the first episode, it's a completely different world.
Yeah.
It's kind of alien to the two of them. Obviously, Jamie's been there before, but it's this very opulent, very Versailles, King Louis XV, and all the sort of politics to go on there. So I think the fans are just going to be quite surprised by it and really intrigued. It's a very different story.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I mean, Claire is pregnant, so you see her sort of struggling with the impending motherhood and how that makes her feel, and Jamie there's still a lot of overhang from last season, and it's just really interesting to watch this couple sort of deal with these new situations together, and how their bond is either strengthened or tested. And I think that's the great thing, is that you just really see this couple sort of continue in a married life, and sort of what all of that brings. And it's really, it's great.
We actually have a question from Twitter. You guys mentioned you're on there. We are too. We're at IGN. You can tweet at us, use IGN Live, the hashtag. Ed Chicken.
Hi, Ed Chicken.
When will we be seeing Jamie return to the fair Scottish Isles?
Well, if you've read the book, you'll probably know. But I mean, this second season is definitely sort of a two-parter. The first half is all set in Versailles and in Paris, where they're trying to stop the Jacobite uprising. And the second half of the season is obviously they're back in Scotland, and there's a lot more mud and blood, and Jamie's fair Scottish Isle.
Mm-hmm.
Ron Moore sort of talked about the changes that are going to be happening in the second season, that it's going to diverge from the book a little bit more than the first season did. Does it still feel to you that the essence of that story kind of remains as the season unfolds?
Oh, of course. I mean, you know, there's sort of the blueprint is laid out by the book. I mean, I think the process of adaptation, you have to change certain things, and with the story this year in France, it wasn't always, you couldn't just do sort of a literal translation or adaptation. So I think we've changed it a little bit, but the essence of the story is still there. And at the heart of it is still Claire and Jamie and their relationship and the struggles that they go through. But it's really exciting. We get to have these incredible sort of cast of characters come in, and it just really, it feels like, even though there's still the Claire and Jamie world, it just feels like we're in a very different place, and it's exciting in that way. I think we all kind of relish that part of it.
We were just talking about how, before we started taping, no couple has been more on the road and on the run other than Bonnie and Clyde than these two. I mean, they've faced ridiculous challenges as individuals, as a couple. What do you think sort of the biggest ones are going forward for them? I mean, there's endless amounts of obstacles for these two.
Yeah, I mean, I think that having to figure out as a couple how they remain connected and keep their bond strong in face of all these different adversities, I think that's kind of the main theme of the second season. And, obviously they're also struggling with the idea of becoming parents in a place where they're not, it's not their home, it's not where they're most comfortable. I think that sort of...
Yeah, and they're sort of assuming different identities as well, and I think, they're sort of trying to, as Caitriona said, keep that bond and keep that sort of intimacy that they discovered in season one, and it's certainly tested.
Mm-hmm.
Politics has also been that's been a really interesting and exciting element of the book, and I think the show, how interweaved that is. And there's obviously Claire, a woman out of time, struggles to find her way and her voice in this world, and we've seen that unfold obviously with the spanking scene and things like that, and the fallout from all of that. What sort of challenges is she going to face moving forward? Do you think that Jamie just now sort of accepts who she is, but what about the rest of the world?
Well, it's interesting because she almost had a lot more freedom in Scotland than she does in France. I mean, you go to France and it's a whole different new set of rules from society and what's expected of women, and I think that's one of Claire's struggles this season, is like, as a woman in this new set of rules, how does she find her voice? How does she keep her, her individualism? But again, I think her role as a healer, and that element of her that is kind of the professional woman, she manages to find an outlet for that, and once she does, I think it's that feeling of being useful and being, having a purpose in life, and I think, once she finds that, she kind of finds her ground a little bit more.
She gets some wonderful dresses as well.
Yes, I mean, that's also the nice thing. She has the most incredible wardrobe, courtesy of Terry Dressback.
Very good tailor.
It's amazing.
And you guys, season 2, do you have a date for that, when that's kicking off, when people can check it out, or?
No,
Spring, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if we did, we would be killed if we ever divulged it, but
All right, well,
no.
It's coming though.
Maybe
Yes.
spring.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. We've got